know them, try to notice their attachment style early. Are they more clingy? Are they more cold and distant? Then they're probably the dismissive. If they're more clingy, they're probably anxious. Or are they like you? They really want to deeply connect, but then they're kind of like hot and cold and touch and go. And when you realize their attachment style, now you know what they need and what they're looking for. So now you can play into that. You can feed those needs as long as it's authentic to you. Don't do things you don't want to do. But as long as it's authentic to you, you know their needs, you know their rule book. So you can meet them, show up for them, support them in their needs while also sharing yours. So you can ask yourself, how can I make room for this person's needs as well? Now, what I want you to do, and this is where the 7-day transformation comes in, is you want to apply meeting that person's needs. If you're dating somebody, validate one of their needs or talk to one of their needs on a daily basis. And that could be, for example, that they are needing some time to decompress and maybe they're more dismissive avoidant. You might say, hey, I know you need some time to decompress. Why don't we meet an hour later? Because I know you probably had a long work day and then we can hang out from then. Or you might say, if somebody's like, hey, I'm feeling really tired, you can support them, right? Um, and if somebody's more anxious and they're needing more closeness, you can check in and say, hey, maybe they need more reassurance. You can send them a validating text or something reassuring a little bit more often, and you'll see how much that has a positive impact. So try to think of ways that you can meet the person's needs that you care about in just small forms. It doesn't even have to be once per day. I mean, that's a great goal, but even if it's once or twice per week, you're off to such an amazing start. And then this is the real massive part here, which is you asking for your needs. Now, it doesn't always have to be from the person you're dating or seeing or in a relationship with, though, of course, that's massive. But it can be from multiple people in your life, including yourself. So this can be, if I'm feeling not good enough, like maybe I want to feel, reassured, maybe I reassure myself more often. Maybe I encourage myself instead of putting myself down so much in my internal dialogue. If I'm needing freedom, maybe I need to stop overcommitting to things so much or putting so much pressure on myself all the time. So look at how you can meet your needs in relationship to yourself. Okay. So again, remember, you can go back to this slide. I'll actually leave it here. When we go back to the fearful avoidance. So you go back to your needs, and then you can actually look at what would be a way of meeting these needs in the relationship to myself. So, how can I bring more emotional depth to my own relationship to self? Maybe through journaling more or meditation. How can I trust myself more? Maybe by setting boundaries and protecting my boundaries in relationships. I really break my own trust when I constantly violate my own boundaries to please others. That's a big one. If you look at novelty, how can I do more new things with myself? If it's freedom, like I said, not overcommit to things. So you can make a strategy for these different ones and then make a strategy for how to share them with a loved one. So if it's in a relationship, maybe you suggest going somewhere new for date night or doing something, new more often together. If it's for freedom, maybe you tell your partner, hey, I love you. I really appreciate you. But sometimes I just need a day to myself on the weekend and I need to just go explore, go for a hike or do something different. Maybe you need more growth in the relationship and you say, hey, let's have these conversations together and learn more about ourselves and our attachment styles, and that can help grow us. If you need more presence in a relationship, you can tell somebody, hey, I really need your full attention right now. I'm sharing something important with you. There's so many ways that we can express these needs, and it doesn't just have to be your partner. When you're meeting it yourself, when you're communicating it to your partner or somebody you're dating, or vetting the person if you're dating them, to make sure that they're gonna show up and meet the needs and that your standards are good. And then if you're also expressing these needs to other people in your life, your friends, your family members, all of that, this is where the massive transformation happens. This is where we get to see major changes. So I'm gonna go to the very end here. And this is a huge place to start. Okay, so we've got this last part here. And if you can do this every day for 7 days, show up, meet a need in relationship to yourself, ask for your need from somebody in your life. Romantic partner one day, friend the next day, family member another day, another friend the other day, back to meeting yourself. You're going to start to see immediate, massive shifts in how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life, and how you feel about relationships. They won't feel so confusing and hard because you know your playbook. And then look for what your partner's needs are, or somebody you're dating, like the person you're trying to improve a relationship with the most, and do a deep dive into that as well. Try to show up, support a need, ask them if they have, whichever need, and you can refer back to this presentation for everybody's rule book, and then show up and have that conversation, validate that need, support it with them. And this is an amazing place to start. So I want you to really practice this for 7 days. It's going to make a huge difference, more than you even would imagine. And once you've done that and checked that off the list, the really cool thing is that for the next little while here, you have access to every single course at PDS. So you can do a deep dive into, like, if you want to reprogram those fears that we talked about. Remember those big 4 wounds that all the attachment styles have? If we go back here, this is for the anxious one, but the abandoned, unsafe. Remember, fearful avoidance had a lot of the feeling afraid of being, yes, abandoned, yes, unsafe, but also betrayed, also feeling trapped and helpless if they rely on other people. We actually have other courses, and you can start with, it would be what I recommend next, is digging into the fearful avoidant course that's all about how to reprogram your fearful avoidant attachment style. And because you're here, you have access to that. And also, I do webinars in here 4 days a week, or 4 times a week on 3 separate days. And you can join me anytime. And there's a link that you'll get sent out to your email. You can go into the webinar library as well. And I'll actually just show you briefly where it is and how you can access it. And it's a really powerful way of just like integrating a lot of this information a lot more deeply. So you'll see here for just a moment that we actually have on this page, if you go to webinars and events, you can access the webinar, and it will show you when the webinar is coming up. And it shows you the schedule here and all that kind of stuff. We talk about all different topics related to relationships, and also related to like self-esteem, self-confidence, relationship to yourself. And we have a library of webinars on a whole bunch of different topics that have already passed here. And it's all, we've got nervous system regulation, we've got communicating your needs while dating, really diving into a lot of these different things. And you can come in twice a week, and you can actually ask me questions. We just have open Q&A sessions. So since you're here, start with the 7-day challenge. Go through, make that transformation, communicate your needs for 7 days straight to multiple people in your life. Try to pick one different person each day, and then you can repeat, maybe you go partner, friend, parent, repeat, right? And make sure you're meeting those needs in relationship to yourself. And then look for how you can meet the needs of what you think the people in your life, especially somebody you're dating or in a relationship with, what their needs are as the specific attachment style that they are. So I would love for you to join me. I'm so excited that you're here. I'd love to see you in those future webinars. And I hope you enjoyed this course, and I hope this gives you your roadmap very clearly in terms of what you need to succeed in dating and what you need to understand. Then the roadmaps of all other attachment styles that somebody in your life could only ever be, and then how to apply that first major breakthrough and transformation that you will see the needle move in 7 days if you stick it out and do that work through communicating your needs. So thank you for watching, and I would love to see you in the Fearful Avoidant Reprogramming course next.